Good damn morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Before I get started, I got to give a big shout out to my girl Danielle. Born and raised in Texas, but she's out in California now, wading waist deep in homeless shit just like me. What's up? I appreciate the love. I am back. I've been gone for a few days. Sick kids, they both came down with the flu, of course at the same time. They couldn't do it one at a time. No, we're both gonna get extremely sick at the same time. So you know, daddy duty calls. I said duty. But here I am, people. Let's not focus on the past, focus on the now. And right now, a bunch of crazy shit is going on. So, let's get started. Bidenus Pervertus. You might know him as Joe Biden. I like to call him by his Latin name, Bidenus Pervertus, child sniffer. So he's sitting down with this fucking dork named Jorge Ramos. I can't stand Jorge Ramos, but he did something right. He took Biden to task for talking about Trump putting kids in cages, saying we didn't put kids in cages, Trump did. We didn't do that. And then Jorge Ramos says, hey, Joe Biden, I have pictures right here from you and Obama putting the kids in cages. Now, Jorge Ramos really doesn't talk like that, but I can't stand him, so I try to be as offensive as possible when referring to him. So he said, look, him and Joe are sitting across from each other in some chairs. He said, look, Joe, I got the pictures right here, man. So in fact, you did put kids in cages. You and Obama did do that shit that you're claiming Trump did, but not you. And he said, after some, I was like, wait a minute, am I listening to a DJ cut a record? What's this fool doing? After some, he says, oh, well, what we were doing was getting those kids, you know, out of those detention centers, and so they could be safe. Yeah, that's right. We took them and put them in the cages so they could be safe. Then he goes, you know you're not being honest about this. He tells the dude, the reporter holding the pictures, you know you're not being honest about this. Honesty has no place here. Honesty implies like you have to rely on me to be honest. You got to trust me to tell you the truth, to be honest. No honesty. Here's a picture of it, fool. I got it still right here, 8x10 glossy, right here. But he said, oh no, we were just keeping the kids safe. Okay, so what do you think Trump's doing? Because let's be honest, most of those kids coming across the border with their families, that's not their family. That's a coyote, that's somebody else using those kids, posing as their parent to get leniency. That's what they're doing. Let's be honest. But we all know this. Actually, I shouldn't say we. Everybody knows this. Left or right, Democrat or Republican, everybody knows that Obama was putting kids in fucking cages. Now, should we call them cages? No, they were fences. They weren't cages. A cage is something small meant for an animal, or depending on the size of the animal. It's for animals, not for people. We don't put people in cages, even though some people should be put in a small, tiny box. We don't. We put animals in cages. So those kids were not put in fucking cages. They were in fenced-in areas. And you know what? If their parents and their family didn't bring them up here, they wouldn't be fenced off. So that's not our fault. I dare to say that those kids being in those detention centers, in those fucking cages, that was an improvement. They just trekked across 1,000+ miles, depending on whether they're coming from Mexico or Guatemala, Honduras, whatever. 1,000+ miles, and now you get air conditioning, food, entertainment. You've seen the one with Candace Owens. She went to a detention center, I believe, in Florida. Man, these kids are in there playing PS2, doing yoga and shit, soccer, whatever they want. Around the clock medical care, food. They're like, man, please don't release me into America. Let me stay here. I like being detained. I put on weight when I'm detained. I'm taken care of when I'm detained. Get the fuck out of here. You act like we're putting these kids in fucking dungeons with no light, chained to the wall. Please, that might be what they came from, but that's not what they're in now. Oh, you know you're not being honest. You're not being honest. Bidenus pervertus. Fucking clown. And that's your front runner? That's who you're putting up against Trump? Man, get out of here with that shit. So, second thing, Virginia. Whew, that was close, wasn't it? Because a couple weeks ago, all those people out there in front of the state capitol with their AR and 15s, all those big, scary, black tactical weapons, protesting their own government because their own government, their own governor, is trying to take their guns away, trying to ban assault weapons. The fuck's an assault weapon? It's anything you pick up and use to assault someone. I know the AR-15s look cool and they got the railing systems and shit, and it might frighten you. It's a military gun. No military uses an AR-15. An AR-15 is a very cool looking hunting rifle. Get out of here. What are you talking about? But they shot it down, at least until next year. People of VA do not have to worry. You will be allowed to keep your assault weapons. How did it even come that close to that? Why do they not understand that shall not be infringed part? It shall not be by anybody at any time. The Second Amendment is our right to protect ourselves, not just from monsters, not just from the product of fucked up home conditions, creeping into your house, approaching you. It's not just against them. It's against our own damn government if necessary. It's like the Japanese emperor said during World War II. The reason we don't invade America is because there's a gun behind every blade of grass. Not only does it deter outside influences, it deters our own government. In case they want to come take our shit. You heard him? Old candidate Booty Gauge. He's talking about, man, we're going to come take all your shit. We're going to come buy back your weapon, the weapon we never bought in the first place. You're going to give it up. Remember when Phony Hawk, a.k.a. sad-looking dickhead, a.k.a. that vulture from those old cartoons, Beta O'Rourke, he said, hell yeah, we're coming to take your AR-15s and AK-47s. So don't tell me that shit can't happen. Don't give me that, oh, well, with the founders, they didn't know about blah, blah. They did know. That's why they said that shit. They knew what they were capable of. They tasted that power. They knew what it could do. So shout out to you, VA. Congratulations, at least for another year. What's his name? Ralph Northam, Blackface? Justin Trudeau's cousin. Good luck to you guys, man. Don't let yourself turn into California. And something I saw yesterday, my son was feeling better, so he wanted to go to the park. So we went a little later in the afternoon than we usually go. Usually we go around noon. This time we were there around 2. So the school bus pulls up, and these little elementary school kids get off the bus. They look like from kindergarten to like 5th grade. So these older kids, the older ones, they all get off in a group. And one of them, he yells to another kid, "Shut up, shithead." I'm like, oh, there's a little baby kid right there. There's a little fucker right there. So he's messing with this other kid, and he hurt him a little bit. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And when I saw that kid, I was like, I recognize that kid. Not the kid himself, but the type of person that kid is. We've all seen that kid. And as an adult, you understand. He probably has a fucked up home life. That's why he goes to school and turns that shit on other kids. There's a reason for it. But as a kid, you don't see the reason. You just see that I'm scared when I'm around this kid. I don't like him. He makes me uncomfortable. He fucks with me. And that made me think, and not that I didn't have this thought before, but it really reinforced that. My son, he turned 4 a couple weeks ago. So now that he's feeling better, we're going to start getting him looking around, shopping around, different types of martial arts, boxing, whatever. Something for him to defend himself against that kid. And that kid is representative of, that feeling you get when you show up to school or you walk home, like, oh, fuck, this kid. Or you try to avoid certain spots because of that kid. And I don't want my kids to have that fear. I want my son to have the confidence to not worry about that kid. Because as a little boy, even as a little boy or whatever, little boy, junior high, high school, a young adult, when you're in school as a boy, worst case scenario, you get in a fight. And let's say, my son, he goes to martial arts, boxing, whatever. He learns to defend himself. He has that confidence. So this kid comes up to him to fuck with him. It can go one of 3 ways. My son says, fuck it, let's go. Let's fight. And he whoops the kid's ass. Number 2, my son says, fuck it, let's fight. And the kid, seeing that my son's not scared of him, makes him come up with an excuse and leave him alone because he wasn't expecting one of the kids he fucks with to stand up to him. Or number 3, my son says, fuck it, let's fight. And the bully beats his ass. But either way, he gets respect out of that. If he kicks the bully's ass, he gets respect. If he stands up to him and doesn't have to fight him, he gets respect. Even if the bully whoops his ass, the fact that my son stood up and had the confidence to go toe-to-toe with this little bastard, he gets respect, and that kid won't bother him anymore. Because that's all bullies understand is someone standing up to him. You can't talk to them, you can't reason with them, you can't negotiate with them. All they understand is this, or at least you not being afraid to go toe-to-toe. And I saw that. I'm standing there watching this kid, interact with all these other kids. And I remember we went a couple months ago talking to this guy, the black guy has a Taekwondo studio named Curtis. Man, you know damn good and well your kid's gonna learn something if you send him to a martial arts instructor named Curtis. But he was a nice guy, he's been doing it a long time, very good with kids. It's all about discipline, respect, and then the martial art. And all that, discipline, respect, confidence, those are all derivatives of learning how to defend yourself. But I don't want my son to have that fear. I don't want him to avoid certain places. I don't want him to get that feeling in his stomach when he's around that kid. We all know that kid. You can think right now and know that kid's name and see his face. I know I had one. Kid's name was Joe. Fucking punk. I hated that kid. I still hate him. I don't give a shit. Oh, time heals all wounds. You're an adult now. I don't give a fuck. I hate that dude. And if I read that he died, I'm being very honest here. If I read that he died, I wouldn't really give a fuck. That dude was a rotten, mean piece of shit. And of course, he had a terrible home life. His dad was abusive to him and his mom, physically, verbally, mentally, used to beat him up. The kid had a terrible fucking life. And for that, I feel bad for him. That part. But other than that, man, fuck that dude. But I don't want my son to have that feeling. I want to do my best to help him avoid that. It's my job. Same with my daughter. And I don't think my daughter, she is not into fighting. She does not want to hurt anybody. She doesn't even want to hurt her brother when he's messing with her. But we've been working on it. I got these little hand pads from Big Five. I don't know if that's a nationwide thing. I don't think so. I think that's just a California thing. But it's like Dick's Sporting Goods, right? So I went there, I got these Everlast hand pads where you put your hand, have these little glove-like things. You put your hand on the other side. And so I've been working on a little 2-hit combo, punch, kick with my daughter. I can't let her go out there not knowing something. Now, whether or not she wants to use it, whether or not her big heart gets in the way and she doesn't want to hurt anybody, that's up to her. But I must give her the tools to do it if she needs to. So we've been working on it for a few days. Of course, she's been sick. We'll pick it back up when she gets better. But I already saw some improvement. You know, at first the elbow was too high, fist was crooked. We worked on it. She's getting it. I told her by this summer, you're going to be a killer. So seeing that yesterday, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I saw that little kid. And it reminded me of that kid we all had in our school days. Not my son, not my daughter. I'm going to teach him something. Because my dad, he didn't sit me down and like, here, son, this is how you throw a punch. I just knew. I knew from getting my ass kicked by my older brother, this shit ain't happening no more. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna send my son, and maybe he won't like taekwondo, boxing, mixed martial arts. Something. We're gonna do something. And the dude was reasonably priced. It was like $100 a month. I'm like, oh hell yeah, Curtis, we can do that. So I'll keep you updated on my child's training. But I'll tell you what's gonna happen right now. I'm gonna hop in this damn rat race. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, because every time it rings, a piece of shit liberal cries. Get your Jericho Green notification tone, fanatictones.com, link in the description box. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.